Hi everyone, Robin here from Gardening with Mama Bird. I am filming the intro and the end of my video a week later after my work because I was super tired and I went in to take a break to feed my little guy, or my dog, and I knocked over his insulin. He is diabetic and it was a brand new insulin, so I was super bummed. So I thought, well, I'll finish the video later. But anyhow, my video was some yard maintenance and I included a few tips along the way which address your lawn, irrigation, and one other little tip that popped up that for a while I didn't know what to do with, and it's helped me tremendously. So I hope you find the tips helpful and leave me a comment. Thanks for joining me.
I like to edge the lawn before I mow. That way any trimmings from the edger can be picked up by the lawnmower. I installed my lawn about 5 years ago with the help of my son because sod rolls are quite heavy. It's a Bolero dwarf fescue, which is good in my Northern California climate. It rates well for drought tolerance and is disease resistance. It's important to set your lawnmower deck or blade level at a height appropriate for the season. For example, my blade level is set between 3 to 4 inches during the summer months, which helps to reduce water loss and retain moisture. During the seasons of fall, winter, and spring, my blade level is lowered to about 2.5 inches so that the lawn doesn't stay too moist and develop fungus. In just a moment, I want to show you how I combat a problem that pops up from my neighbor's tree. My neighbor has a tree that is called a Bradford pear or fruitless pear. I had one in my former yard and one in this yard as well when I moved in. It was the first to be removed. They are a fast-growing tree and very pretty. However, they come with problems. They are prone to suckering, and boy do they. During the spring, they get white flowers that cover the ground like snow. The blossom fragrance is not one you'd want to put in a bottle. It smells like an unkept litter box. It's prone to disease and often branches will break and split during stormy weather. But today I want to show you what I use to combat the suckers that pop up in my yard from this tree. This here is an example of a hardy sucker that has popped up in my yard from their tree. I use sucker punch and it works great. Let me show you how I use it. First, I want to clear away some of the soil, so then I can cut the sucker below the soil line to expose the inside of the branching. Then I will use the brush applicator, which comes with the product, to paint the product on the exposed surface. I let that dry, cover it with soil, and for me, they don't seem to return.
I am going to put in a drip line with inner emitters in the tubing, the 1/4-inch tubing, and it's every 6 inches. So I'm going to place it about 11 inches from my grass border all the way around and plant my alyssum on this side of the drip line because most of it slopes down. So as it drips, it's going to go to the alyssum. And I'm going to plant them, probably about 26 of them till they meet up with the tree. In each hole, I have my fertilizer. I'm gonna sprinkle one a little bit in each hole to help give them a boost to get going.
As I go down the line, I will continue to measure and add 4-inch galvanized steel landscape staples to hold the drip line in place. Even though I gave them a quick drink before I planted them, I still want to give them another drink before I move on to my next project. This plant is new to me, but I planted one on the left side of the path I just installed, so I wanted one on the right side so they would match. I had purchased the one on the left as a trial to see how it would do. It's been in the ground for several months and doing well, so I thought I'd add this one. Over here, I bought 2 more mondo grass. I had 3 in the ground, but since some of the sedum has died out, I decided to add 2 more to keep my odd number and fill in the space. As you can see here, I still have soil that is clay-like and will mold together like clay. So as I replant these plants, I will amend the soil with soil I purchased from the store. If I can, I like to dig a hole big enough to place both plants before covering them with soil to be sure I like their placement. I will also take plugs of the Angelina stonecrop sedum and plug it into the bare areas to support growth in the area and fill it in.
Okay, here I'm going to plant, they're called begonia double rose. They are an annual in my zone. They say tender USDA zone 10. I might be able to cover them if we got, freezing temperatures or near freezing temperatures to try to winter them over. I don't know, they get about 8 to 18 inches wide and 6 to 12 inches high. So they didn't have my odd number, so I thought, well, I'll put one in a pot here and then I'll plant the 3 down below. And they have the cutest little like rosette flowers on them. So I had to have them. I have a few drip lines I need to add before I go in for the day, and I wanted to show you how I add my drip lines. So these are the tools I use. This cuts the tubing. They have a smaller version, which I have inside the house. I take a cup of water and nuke it in the microwave for about 1 minute to make it hot. I have my hole punch to put the hole in the tubing to connect them. And on the end of my lines, I've been putting this little device that has an on and off switch that's for 1/4 inch. And then this piece here is going to connect my tubing. Actually, I won't need this one because I'm going to connect just this. So let's get rid of this. I don't need that. This is the tubing from the alyssum. So I'm going to run it through here. I'm going to cut the line about halfway in between each emitter. And this is where I'm going to let this tubing soak in the hot water to make it more pliable while I take this and put a hole in it. And you got to make sure you put the right side of the punch that you want it to connect to. So soaking it in the hot water helps it to be a little bit more pliable. Sometimes my hands are tired and I have tendonitis in this hand, so it's easier to soak it and then it goes right on for you. You can see that. Then all you have to do is put it in the hole that you punched. Listen to it to pop. Make sure your arrow is running with the line so you know it's on, and you're done. Okay, I got one last thing I'm going to do for the day. I'm going to plant 6 of these phlox paniculatas. They're called Kapow Purple. They're perennials, but the nursery gal said probably not to plant them in the full sun. So they're going to get a lot of morning sun, and I'm actually going to plant them closer than what they say because previous phlox that I've had don't seem to spread, so I'm going to change it up a bit. I don't know if I'll regret it later, but it says 16 to 18 inches wide and high, and I'm going to do about 12-inch spacing. So this is what we're going to plant. Again, here's some of that cardboard from my no-dig method that I'm digging through. I'm going to give a little fertilizer. I brought some extra soil. Let's see, it needs to go down a little bit more.
Oh, and I was able to clean this area out. I was not able to get enough flowers for a bouquet, so I went through and picked off some of the flower heads to save seeds for next year.
I want to keep as much of that soil from the root base as possible. The alyssum is not much to look at just yet, but all of them are still alive and doing well below the drip, and I will show you what they're going to look like. So with a little time, they will fill in and I'll have a drift of purple, just like this side, to match up over here where I planted these. Now I didn't have enough to go right here in this little area, so I'm looking for something to maybe pop out and plant there. This is the evergreen that is a new plant to me, and it's called a Callaluna volroma. I guess that might be its botanical name. If there's a better common name, let me know what that is. but this is the one on the left side of the path that I bought because I really liked the darker green color against the sedum. And it's been in the ground a couple months, and I really like that it's staying low. So I decided to add it to both sides of the path. Over here where I planted the additional mondo grass and cleared out the dead sedum area, it's all looking nice and the sedum is filling in, and I'm happy with how this is looking. So like I said, things have been in the ground for a week because I wasn't able to get out here and do a video right after planting. But the begonias are doing very well. I decided to plant 2 below the pot, the one in the pot because I like the odds, and then I put the oddball one back there where there was a little blank space. I feel like they've already put on some growth, but I'm really happy with them and I like them. Then the last planting of the day, I did some phlox. And these are a perennial. The nursery gal suggested that I not plant them in the full sun, but to give them some afternoon shade. They're doing well. The blossoms on them are very pretty. Here's one over here in bloom. So I have 3 on each side, and I'm actually contemplating trying to get some moss rock maybe and putting a couple stones back in here to help with putting some additional soil in that area. So I'm really happy with the way that borders that path, and the green ground cover seems to be filling in pretty quickly.
Have a great day and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and you will subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video and you will subscribe to my channel.